Hello, everyone. Welcome to Impact Talks, the show where we explore how organizations and individuals are creating a positive change in India and the world at large. I'm your host, Adish, and today I'm delighted to have Mr. Chander Madan as a guest. So, before we start a conversation, I'll first take the opportunity to introduce Mr. Chander Madan to our audience. So, Mr. Chander Madan is a seasoned entrepreneur from close to 4 decades of experience, specializing in fintech, edutech, and edutech. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce honors from Delhi University and a CFA charter holder from the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India. Throughout his entrepreneurial career, Mr. Chander has touched the lives of over 2 million individuals by enhancing their career potential and contributing to poverty alleviation. Prior to starting his entrepreneurial journey, he significantly contributed to leading companies like NIIT and Hewlett-Packard Asia Pacific, where he served as CFO for HP's PC business and in the Asia Pacific region. During his tenure, he played a pivotal role in the HP-Compaq merger, achieving remarkable profit levels and growth above the market average. He also spearheaded emerging market growth plans for China, India, and Southeast Asia. His blend of financial expertise, technology acumen, and strategic mindset has been instrumental in driving growth of innovation and in the organizations he has been part of. So, Mr. Chander Madan, we extend our warmest welcome to you for gracing us with your presence on Impact Talks today. We are sincerely grateful for your participation.
Thank you, Adish, and hello, everyone. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I will just straight away start with my first question. So currently you are serving as the Chief Executive Officer of eAge Edusolutions Private Limited. But reflecting on your journey, starting with the chartered accountancy, could you elaborate on what inspired you to pursue this path of moving into the edtech field? I mean, we are eager to learn how this decision has shaped your direction in social development and leadership within eAge Edusolutions.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Adish. So I think the journey started way before CFA, to be honest with you. Okay. Um, there's a very fine difference between chartered accountancy and chartered financial analyst. So just to clarify, it's a CFA degree. So journey started way before CFA. I like to go back to maybe 1990s, early 90s rather, or even 80s, late 80s. I had a very, very humble beginning. I used to be a tuition teacher in my moment I finished. Immediately after I finished my class 12th, I started teaching. And, many of my audience will be surprised that my first tuition fee was like 50 rupees a month, right? So we had I had very, very humble beginning. My initial schooling, primary schooling, happened in a municipal corporation school in Delhi. And the reason I'm explaining this to you, it'll all add up at the end.
Yes, sir.
And the first time I started to speak English, or rather even write alphabets, ABC, was grade 6. Okay, so from there, uh, you know, being a tuition teacher who would make pocket money to make a living, and going to a municipal corporation school and going through that rigorous education plan within the schooling, but not knowing English was the way we started. Humble beginning. And then I was lucky enough to join NIIT. That was my first exposure to technology. Back in 1990, we were uh, testing the NIT's first accounting system, and I used to be cashier in NIT, collect fees. Again, another very, very humbling experience, and thanks to NIT co-founders, I think they really treated us like the family, and and that's where the whole culture of startup actually started in those days. Fast forward, I joined HP in 1990, as a financial analyst, and then spent 6 years in India, 2 years in Hong Kong, and then about 12 years in Singapore as a CFO for Asia Pacific. While I was doing my job, good 20 years with 2 decades with HP, I realized that I'm becoming a corporate slave, which makes slides and travels, and this is where the idea of eAge was born. Um, you know, uh, Education was close to my heart. Um, I think a skill that I acquired is understanding tech, having spent more than 25 years in tech. And I thought before I get to 40, let me start something on my own, and create value. And so I used my 2 decades of experience, 2+ decades of experience, uh, and went to what I liked most, doing teaching, but using tech. So I combined the study side or the education side with the knowledge of tech, and thought I would do I would create a platform that to impart knowledge. Now, why English? When I was going back to my school days, uh, I didn't know how to speak in English. But when I got into HP, worked in various countries, they didn't understand my language. I didn't understand their language. So the common language is English. Okay, and how I picked the language along the way was immersed in the environment where everybody was speaking in English. Okay. Uh,
Mhm.
I didn't go through theory, vocabulary, grammar, yada, 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 but I think I was just simply sucked and immersed in the environment of the language. So, whatever little I can speak better today is because of that immersion. So I thought if I'm starting something with tech enabled, uh, to reach masses, uh, and I want to impart knowledge, why don't we create global citizens by helping them to learn English better, okay, and become confident speakers. Um, uh, and and that's how eAge tutor was born way back in 2009. And the whole idea was to really create global citizens out of India, where we can get them to be a confident speaker and uh, compete with global citizens. And that was the whole idea behind starting EA Studio, and that's how the entrepreneur in me was born.
Oh, that's a really inspiring journey, sir. And I hope our learners and everyone would be, the listeners would be motivated with it. However, as we delve into the conversation about EAGE under Edusolution and its overarching vision, it's essential to understand how this vision aligns with your personal mission. Could you shed some light on the inspiration behind EAGE Edusolutions to give all our audience a better understanding of the domain? And additionally, what are your aspirations for the impact of the digital language learning platform, particularly regarding its potential to change lives and promote cross-cultural communication on a global scale?
Sure, sure. So I think, yeah. So going back to my own personal story, as I said, language immersion helped me become a confident speaker, and I think that's how a language needs to be learned. Uh, So to me, we would like to create large scale impact. And, one way to teach language to people is open up your institutes, open up centers, and, everything is fine. But that's not scalable, right? You have one center, maybe let's say in Chandigarh or any part of the country. And when you want to build more centers, you need to have more real estate, more assets, etc., etc. So I think the fundamental thought behind scaling is use tech, number one. And by the way, we have already trained more than 1 million people, 10 lakh people across India and abroad on just spoken English. Uh, how do I see, impact? I think very simple. To me, impact means not just becoming a confident speaker, but so what, right? They should be able to progress ahead in life. By that, I mean, if you are, let's say, a student, when you go for your first job, you should be able to command one of the best salaries. Okay. If you are already in the job, so take an example, we have some professors from Lucknow, a teacher from Punjab, uh, or even, some of my professional friends in Mumbai who are, or even in tier two cities, for example, who are working with some large corporates like Airtel, like HUL. If some of these people who are already in the job, they sometimes struggle to progress ahead because of English. Okay, so take an example of a sales manager in Airtel, for example. If they're in tier two, tier three towns, they are expert in their domain. They know how to sell well. Okay, when they have to explain that concept to a corporate in HP or Google or anything to sell their services, they struggle, right? They struggle. They simply freeze. So whether you are starting your career or you are still in school, and I will talk about school as well. I think if you're in school, our idea is to build confidence in you and lay the foundation well. If you're in college, we want to make sure you get a much better job, uh, a job that where you can command good salary. And if you are already in job, you want to make sure get promoted fast. Okay,
Right.
so to the whole idea is to enhance your career to next step, and for us, that's impact. Uh, uh, the simple idea that so simple fact, and I think this is a publicly in public domain. This numbers are available. I think there was an economic time study back in 2014, 10 years back, and that says those who can communicate in global language, which means English, well, will make 34% more than those who can't. Very simple fact. Okay. Um, Another example I'll give you, we have recently got into a healthcare training domain, and we have already just in last 6 months placed 500 plus healthcare professionals find a job in UK, United Kingdom, because we were able to train them well and get them across the line on English proficiency test as an idea. So for us, um, I think success means you know making an impact that will help enhance the career potential of a learner. How do we do it at scale? I think by using tech. Okay, tech enablement is key to reach out to audience. So I'll give you an example. uh, Hindustan Unilever approached us about 6 7 years back, and they said we want to train all our users of Rin, that's detergent cake, all our users of Rin, and we want to make them employable by teaching them English. Okay, and they were going through a course of a very large UK multinational. I won't take the name right now, and uh, they approached us to say to check if we can make an impact. You won't believe we created a platform for them, not even internet based platform. It was a feature phone based platform where we trained 4 lakh students across the length and breadth of India in rural areas, and I think about it made about 30 to 40% of them more employable. That's impact through technology. Similar uh, uh, case study we did with Sibaka, Colgate. I don't know, everybody knows Colgate, right? But
Right.
they have a low-end brand called Sibaka that's sold in rural areas. Okay, those of the audience who are in my age group knows there was a Sibaka, Geet Mala by Amin Siani back in 1990s or even earlier than that. So they will know the brand, but many youngsters may not know the brand. But for Sibaka, we trained 250,000 students on oral health, on English communication skills, and interview skills. And again, by using the same tech platform that we had done for HUL. So I think combining the two is almost 7 to 8 lakh people that we have created. So what makes a difference? I think what makes a difference is enabled by tech. It's customized, heavily customized. In the case of RIN, we did along with English office dressing. How do you dress for office? For Sivaka, we did oral health. Now, are we the experts in oral health? Probably no. But the customization we can bring to make people confident speaker and hence get a better job, enabled by tech, is the key. And as I said, we focus on impact, impact at scale, and technology has been key enabler uh, of that. We already trained 1 million students, and recently we launched Simply English app, which I'm sure we're going to elaborate later. I think there we're looking at now. My humble vision is to do about 10 million students in next 5 years.
Wow. So I think some incredible scale you're talking about. And you have already, I think, mentioned a few. Any other large scale projects that your team had undertaken, and if you would like to highlight?
So we have recently taken on one more, and so I think depends what we call large scale, right? It can start with few thousands. I didn't even mention to few
Right.
lakhs, right?
Right.
Uh, so we also work with a lot of foundations. For example, one of the foundations we work with, Foundation for Excellence. There we at least do 2 to 3,000 students every year. We're recently running a pilot with the Avanti Fellows. There the potential is about 30,000, and then incorporate another project that I can maybe talk about is back in 2017, way before COVID, right? Uh, we did uh, 10 colleges where we trained 5,000 students on just spoken English skills. So there are many I can talk about, but I think top of the list certainly is Reddington Foundation, Sibaka, and HUL. These three big ones we can talk about, and there are many more to come.
Right, sir. So it's actually very commendable how your organization has scaled up at this, at this extent, and especially considering the challenges, especially during the initial days when the digital area in itself was developing, as you were mentioning, even earlier years, you were giving citing examples. So on this itself, I like to know how does eAge Edusolutions ensure accessibility to language learning for individuals and communities, and what innovative strategies have you employed to reach a diverse range of learners effectively?
Yeah, I think so. Going back to my earlier comment, I think uh, immersion is very, very important. And by immersion, I mean, uh, see, you can get people to speak in the language in a variety of ways. In our humble opinion, the best way to do this is immersing them in the environment so that they start to think in the language. So let me take an example. My mother tongue is Hindi. When I was born, everybody was speaking in Hindi. My parents, my friends, my family, and nobody told me the difference between that for girls you say makhana khati hu, or for boys you say makhana khata hu. Nobody taught me that. It came naturally. Why? Because I was immersed in that environment of Hindi. Okay. Uh, we apply the same approach to learning English. Okay, uh, because that's the difference between Indian who speaks Hindi and say when they woke up in the morning say Namaste or Ram Ram or whatever Suprabhat versus English child who will say good morning. Right. So that's the difference, and it has to come naturally. You have to think in the language before you even speak in the language, because that translation everything gets messed up. I'm sure you know you are fully aware of that. So I
Right.
think immersion is very, very important. So our job is not to get people to speak in the language first, but think in the language. Okay, because if they start to think, they will start to speak as well. Secondly, we make it very, very contextual and personalized. Okay, so again, take an example. We run some of the job and function specific English programs uh, for variety of audience. So if there is a homemaker who's coming to uh, join our program, we would teach her how to be confident in front of the teacher in a parent-teacher meeting. It's a very simple example. If we have a salesperson who is going to work on Vijay Sales or Chroma or any of those retail store, or Apple for that matter, uh, we train them on communication skills specific to their domain. So when a customer comes, apart from greetings like good morning, etc., how would you make a customer? How would a customer who's coming to buy an Apple product or iPhone? How would you upsell them the earphones, the charger, and the other things by uh, learning upselling strategies in English uh, to make sure the customer buys extra? If you're an accountant, right? How would you? Because usually coming from finance, I can tell you, accountants are probably the most introverted, less outgoing people, but they had to do a tough job of escalating to the management when they don't see right? But saying this is wrong can be damaging and hurting. But if you say, hey, could we do this in this? Could we do it alternately in this way? And this supporting will be required. The point I'm trying to make is we trained people on English in their context so that because the sales guy does not need to know Shakespearean literature, right? Uh, and an accountant does not need to know sales process, right? So we train them in their context, so they personalize it, right? It's like two people in UP and Bihar, right? If you teach them English with John and Johnny and pizza and burger or fish and chips, they don't understand the context, right? For them, in Bihar is chitti loka, and uh, maybe in Bengal is rasgulla, as an
Right.
example, versus giving pizza and fish and chips. So I think it's it's contextual, it's immersion based, it's to help them think in English. And uh, as I said, for diverse audience, we have diverse programs, right? From school level, where we build foundation, to college level, where we do campus to corporate program, to job specific program, to a test prep program when people are going abroad. So it's very, very contextual. We have diverse audience that we look at it. And we and one more point I wanted to add here is the panel of tutors that we have on our platform. There are about 5,000 of them, and they come from very, very diverse backgrounds. So you pick a state in India on Indian map, and you point your finger, we'll have a teacher there. Okay, it's as simple as that. So these teachers are bilingual. So when students struggle to speak in English, they'll go bilingual and explain the concept in the local language so that they get it. And uh, so we make it contextual. It's very personalized. It's focused on thinking in English. And last but not the least, we make it very impact focused. How are you going to get benefited out of that? Okay, it may be a new job or a promotion, um, or securing a foreign job. I get a lot of commendation letters from students when they call me, hey sir, thank you, we have found a job in United Kingdom, thanks to eAge, and you have helped us. Or even simple things like when you call Airtel or any of the IVR numbers, they say press one
Right.
for English and two for Hindi. Say I press one today for English. Okay, so it's impact focus. It's immersion. It's getting them to think in English to move ahead, and that's why I think we make it very, very uh, easy for them, irrespective of the fact whether they have technology access or no. Of course, if it is internet, you can have video sessions. If it is not internet, you can do it on the phone. I think the important piece is that you need to have a motivated learner and a expert guru who's willing to impart knowledge, and a motivated learner who's willing to take it as an idea.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. So, moving on in terms of competition, if you see in an industry bustling with competitors, with where numerous language learning platforms vie for users' attention, EA's unique approach and commitment to delivering high quality education sets it apart. The challenge of standing out in a crowded space is formidable, yet EAge manages to distinguish itself through innovative teaching methodologies, personalized learning experience, and a focus on real world application. So, Mr. Madan, my question is in alignment with this. We all are very intrigued to know in a crowded space with like hundred of players, and how does EA distinguish itself and ensure impactful scalability?
Yeah, I think it's first of all, we do a couple of things very differently. Number one, uh, we make it accessible anytime. Okay, so with the use of the app, uh, it's available pretty much 24/7. The app is available 24/7, so that you can do the basic foundation, English, etc. Online, and so that's number one. It's accessible. When you want to connect with teachers, we are available 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. Okay, so for example, many of our students log in early in the morning before going to school, college, or going to college or work, and after they come back from your education institute or work, they will do early morning, late evening classes. That gives them flexibility. Okay, uh, three, the learner has the choice to make or not make eye contact with the teacher. So imagine a guy of my age, trying to learn English, okay, from a person of your age, okay, and if it is a different gender, it's even more difficult, okay. So when you want to maintain that privacy, you turn off your video and you talk, because for learning a language, for learning English, I think you need to listen and speak then rather than see. Yes, gestures, etc., very very important, uh, but I think just listening is fine. So you learn in the comfort of your home with the privacy as you want. Okay? Uh, and let me tell you, many of the people in the on the north of 40 probably would not like to acknowledge they don't know English. Okay, but they need to learn, right? They won't even acknowledge. They don't want to be seen as carrying books and going to an institute, right? So online plays a very very big role. Uh, so I think making it contextual, uh, making it personalized and customized to them in their own context, as I explained earlier. Um, and we keep it impact focused and high quality. Okay. If you go to any of the online edtech classes, okay, the what's the student base? Around 20, 30, maybe 50. Okay. And because they have taken a lot of money from investors, okay, burning a lot of money on CAC, and they have to recover now by putting in 50 students in one online class. I mean, forget online class. In any physical class, if you put 50 teachers, 50 students, sorry, it won't be effective. What we do, we keep a very, very small group who can learn together. So our class size is no more than 5. Okay. So we make it very, very customized, small group session, so the learning can be very, very effective. Okay. So pedagogy is different. We focus on thinking English. We focus on quality and keep the group size very, very low. We are flexible in terms of timing and pretty much available 24/7 for interactive classes, 17 by 7, 17 hours, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and by 7 days a week. And quite frankly, we have built a tech platform which was born way before Zoom was born. Okay. So it's a grandfather of Zoom. I don't promote it, but that way. But internally, we built this platform in 2012, and for last 12 years we've been improving. Okay, and so I think how we are different, as I said, we focus on quality and impact. Keep the classes very small. We provide the timing flexibility, provide the privacy to the student, and last but not the least, I think our tech platform is simply, very different. Okay, it may not be it may not have the jazz as you will see in Zoom and some other platform, but it does the job without frills, because I need to make sure that tech platform works equally well, whether you use it in metros or you use it uh, in a farm in Jharkhand or UP or Cochin for that matter, or Punjab. It should work equally well. So we have built the tech platform for low bandwidth so that the interaction and engagement can happen better to deliver a very very unique impact focused class.
Right, sir. So you mentioning about tech. So when discussing language learning applications, it's important to highlight the unique features and benefits they offer. In this case, we are focusing on the Simply English application, which utilizes artificial intelligence technology powered by ChatGPT to enhance the language learning experience for users. So could you elaborate a little more on it and how this Simply English application leverages the new age AI tools and elevates the language learning journey for its users?
Sure, sure. So Simply English, I think idea was born about a year back, and I think we've been at it. I don't think the product is perfect yet, but I think it does the job. Um, what is Simply English? I think Simply English is your customized uh, uh, Chat GPT type app for learning English. So, for example, when you go to Chat GPT, I think it will tell you, you ask a question, it responds, and the whole idea is to ask the right question and the right prompt. Uh, and that makes a difference, right? If you ask ChatGPT, how do I answer tell me about yourself, it'll give you the answer. But if you say, if you are smart enough to say, okay, now let's practice, okay, it'll practice it with you, uh, and give you the right mechanism, right approach, right methodology to ace the interview. Okay. So prompt engineering is very, very important in any generative AI tool. And I think we have, uh, what we have done is we have curated lesson plans, which means we provide uh, prompts, relevant prompts, intelligent prompts to ask to learn English. Okay. Um, uh, so it works like a chat GPT on your Android phone, and it answers all the questions that you want to ask. Uh, we want to make sure that uh, our users learn it uh, uh, in a way that is effective for them. So we have created curated prompts, which we call lesson plans. And imagine that you want to practice. A lot of my young friends, have a very different biological cycle, and they probably work, learn late at night, right? So if 1 a.m. in the morning, if they want to get the answer to the question for the next interview, and they want to practice with somebody, okay, and they can't find a friend, that Simply English app will be your AI tutor. It will practice with you, and not just chat, but talk. So we have added a functionality where unlike chat gpt, it can even talk to you. Okay, so it's a Simply English, uh, or rather AI based tutor, who will practice with you even when your friends will not be available, okay, or teacher will not be available. Okay, so it's a simple uh, chat gpt type tool. And I'll be honest, with full disclosure, we have taken APIs of chat gpt, but we have improvised it for Indian context, and improvised it uh, for people to learn English even without a teacher. Okay, but I want to be very cautious what I'm trying to say here. It will help you build the foundation. Okay, when you have to practice, you have a AI tutor available. Uh, when a physical teacher or a friend or somebody else to practice is not available. All those are available, and it's always on. And let me go to the extent of saying it's Blinkit of English. You want it now? You want to learn it now? I'm there for you. That's Simply English app for you. Okay, so we have already started to see very good response to the app, and we have already deployed this with two large organizations. By the way, we are working on a rural PC project for a company called Reddington. That's a $10 billion IT distribution company. We're running a pilot with them, and we would like to deploy it to every single village of India. And number two, one of the foundations in Bangalore is going to use that app already. We are giving it free to all the college students, anybody who cares to learn English. The generic version is free, absolutely at no cost, no hidden cost, and no scams. But if organization or somebody would like to get a personalized app, then of course there are subscriptions for that.
So in today's landscape of social challenges, collaborations and partnership have emerged as fundamental drivers of meaningful change. And you're pointing to some of those. So collaboration is indeed a pivotal for creating lasting impact. In this regard, could you shed some light on how eAge Edusolutions effectively collaborates with various stakeholders such as government agencies, NGOs, and the private sector to enhance the influence and develop sustainable solutions? Additionally, how do you even envision these partnerships enabling opportunities and outreach to people?
Yeah, so I think let me give you a few examples. So as I said, in the corporate space, we we do two or three activities. Number one, uh, whenever corporates would like to have their employee learn English, so of course we run the program for them on a commercial basis, and this is a for-profit activity. Second big area we do in corporates is we work with them on their CSR program. So take an example of even HUL or some of the large banks or oil and gas companies, they have decent CSR funding. And 2% of their profit needs to be utilized towards CSR. And by the way, 50% of that goes into skilling. Okay. So we work with them to deploy their CSR funding to empower underprivileged youth, but underprivileged but deserving youth, uh, who can be made employable by use of spoken English, interview skills, and running skill development program that will get them a better job. Okay, so that's we work with them through CSR, and last but not the least, I think with corporates we work using their brand building program. Now, this is, we are extending the English communication to a very different level, because English being used for brand building, I think no marketer will tell you that. But how some of the large brands, like if you take example of Rin, which is as a brand, uh, if HUL wants to have their consumer spend more time with the brand, there are two approaches. One, blast a TV ad, okay, which will be seen by everybody, but you're not sure of impressions. But if you tell them, hey, I'm here for you, I'm creating a RIN Career Ready Academy, and you will learn English through us with our partner eAge Tutor, absolutely free. And if that person gets a job, they'll remember the brand forever. Okay. Not only they will use the brand, but they will make sure all their family members and everybody remembers the brand. Okay. So we work with corporates, and we've done 3 or 4 campaigns already at large scale. Okay. Uh, to make sure that we can use education to reach out to masses in rural areas. Mostly this is being done for products which are available for masses, not for classes. Okay, these are mostly for masses. Yeah, and hence we are able to reach out the scale. So corporate, 3 activities: CSR, brand building, employee training. Then we work with a lot of NGOs to achieve a CSR type objective. So, for example, Foundation for Excellence in Bangalore trains more than thousands of people every year with us, and they have been with us for the last 7-8 years. Okay, uh, to train deserving youth to become doctors, engineers, and I must thank our partner Foundation for Excellence. They do a great job of doing this. A similar NGO is SOS Children Village of India. Uh, we have that partnership with them for last 8-9 years, and we have trained thousands of people for them. So like this, we work with NGOs, and thanks to CSR Box as well, we have been able to reach out to many NGOs through our process, through our reach out program. So we work with a lot of NGOs. We are doing this for commercial. Okay, this is we are not an NGO, and we are doing this for profit, but we help through a lot of NGOs deserving youth, and we get paid for the services. We may not be making as much profit as I would like to make in a commercial deal, as I would do in an NGO, but it's for profit, but maybe at a lower margin. Yeah, and what these agencies do, again, we work with a lot of institutions like ITI, colleges. So, for example, we're running a program for MDU University in Rohtak. Okay, we also reached out to another MD University in Rewari. Okay, again, these places are closer to Gurgaon, so I'm talking about those because we are based in Gurgaon. But our idea is that from Srinagar or Kashmir to Kanyakumari, wherever we have a deserving youth, they are enabled. Okay, because education, I believe, or communication skills and career development opportunities are fundamental right to every human being. I think they must get it. And so what we do in a humble way, by collaborating with our stakeholders like corporates, institutes, some of the government agencies, and NGOs, etc., we make sure that these deserving youth get what they actually ought to be getting, and they actually deserve to become better employable. And some of these agencies provide us like last mile access. Okay, because sitting in a corporate running a online platform, reach is the key. Okay, reach is the key, and we want to make sure that through these stakeholders, we get that reach to be at the last mile, and that's very very important. I think one of the point I forgot to mention, and I must add, one more way we're trying to get last mile access is we are working with organizations who are already present in rural areas. So, for example, fintech companies who have these, banking correspondent centers, and they deal with 400 to 500. There are, I think, 20 lakh centers amongst the four major players that we see, like Pay Nearby, Spice Money, etc. So, what we do is through these fintech uh, banking correspondent points, we are reaching out to these last mile rural customer who is probably spending most of the time in the field, but would love to be educated.
Right. I think it's been very insightful and also very inspiring to continue listening to you. But as in just taking time constraints, I move towards the end. And so, lastly, I'll just say CSR Box is preparing a compendium of aspirations, envisioning India and its social development sector at its 100 years of independence. So, my final question to you is pertaining to the social development sector. What would India of 2047 look like according to your vision and aspirations?
A very good question, and I think just to give you a bit of a context, I think every Indian uh, needs a visa to go to any country. Okay, that's the context today. And as much as we can say that we are the world power, I think as I worked in both, outside India and within India, I can tell you the difference. We are not the world power. Okay, as much as we would like to say, no offense meant to all the leaders and political leaders, but we are beginning to be one. We are getting recognized much better, but we are not the. I think a global citizen that anybody global citizen that can compete with anybody in the world. So my vision of 2047, I want to see every Indian being a confident speaker of a global language. In today's world is English, and who can communicate with any global citizen at an international platform and travel visa free completely by 2047.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. Chander Madan. I must say your expertise and insights have truly enriched our discussions today. So, as we near the end of today's discussion, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude for your time and contribution and sharing with us your inspiring journey of yourself as well as of eAge Edusolutions. And so, it's always a delight to have you. Thank you very much for the discussion.
Thank you so much, Adesh, and thank you, CSR Box, for giving me the opportunity. It's been indeed a pretty interesting discussion, and look forward to do more of these. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And to our audience, we hope you all have enjoyed this conversation and learned something new from Mr. Chander Madan. Please don't forget to join us again next week for the upcoming episodes of Impact Talks, where we continue to share inspiring stories of individuals and organizations that are actively inspiring the world for the better. Until then, this is Adesh bidding you farewell, wishing you a fantastic day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.